Good morning, planet. Half-lives, the term, it's a concept. Okay, you have to put it up to that level and then figure out who's talking about whatever a half-life means. So, half-life in a engineering type of concern is how long is something going to last? Is a half-life a valid measurement of that? And what do we call a half-life? So if I'm a operating engineer, at one time I had thousands of micro relays, reed relays. If you know how they operate, it's a little bimetallic reed that you heat up and it opens and closes. It has a set number of life cycles. So if I have 3,000 of these little clickers on circuit boards across a computer room, running 1,000 times a second, 100 times a second, how many times are those little reeds going to get exercised in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? Then you go back and you look at something called manufacturer's information. And they actually have statistics on the failure rates of these items. The expected number of life cycles. It might be in the millions. But they're usually on well-built technical items. Our line sheets, our reference sheets like that. So if you know about them, you go back and use. And why would you do this? This is predictive failure modes. You know you're going to have infantile failures. In other words, something was just wrong with the product and it failed very prematurely. So that might be in the first months of cycling, you have thousands of these and 3 of them fail. Is that acceptable? Depends. So, yes, it is acceptable because that's how they were built and what it is. But by knowing about it, by knowing about the liability, you can consider for it. Maybe make plans in 5 years to just replace all of the boards at once. Or in your repair programs for parts, you specify all those get replaced as part of a normal routine maintenance item on electronics. Do you think about that much? So, but keeping these boards alive because they're custom boards. They're not off-the-shelf things you can go buy at wherever. So these things were considerations. They mattered. Half-life. So I don't know that I would have used a half-life in that conversation. I would have used engineering terms for infantile failure. If there are more than an acceptable amount of failures, we might go into failure mode analysis and send these little discrete parts off to have them analyzed for why they failed. The metallurgy in them might be bad. We might be overrunning them, overcurrent, overheating them. So if I have a bank of them go wrong, I might have a common power supply problem, over voltage or something. But so that's a consideration of a failure mode. But that's not what a decay mode is. A decay mode typically is considered a half-life in even biological systems. A half-life might be how long food is in your body. You evacuate the bulk of your food within 24 to 48 hours of eating. But some residual of that is left and stays in your body. So individual elements of your food have different lives in your body. Some of it just passes through. The roughage, right? Passes through. The corn you didn't chew. So the half-life conversation is rather key. If half of something decays, when is it all gone? When is it safe to be around? One of the numbers you hear commonly is 7 years. That's a generalization, a broad generalization that I know of. I think it's for, I don't even know what it's for. I have to go look it up. But the information's out there. What 7 years to save for some element of a half, you can't do it that way. You have to know the quantity of isotopes because you're looking for when it's safe to be around. You can't just randomly assess this. You have to apply some type of math, some type of logic, some type of human understanding to what the decay does. Something could be safe in 5 years, could be safe in 3 weeks, could be safe in 100 years, could never be safe in human lifetimes. Now you're talking plutonium, fissile uranium isotopes, concentrated bundles of isotopes, mixed isotopes, because when they decay, they react with each other and cause other decay modes, make other elements. This is beyond free electrons. This is free particles. This is free unbound elements waiting to rebind as soon as they've done their change. Their half-life has expired. So understanding the half-life, who's speaking to it? There is a biological half-life, as I said. If you uptake iodine-131 and saturate your thyroid with a radioactive isotope, you increase your risk of cancer. You don't guarantee cancer. You increase your risk of cancer or goiter or other thyroid problems or other metabolite problems, or your thyroid can spread that cancer to other tissue in your body, other organs in your body, other glands. So, half-life. It's very important to be able to put a context on it in the conversation that's being had. So the half-life safety for human proximity number varies by isotope and concentrations.